Hello, my friends, and welcome. We're going to be looking at lesson 2 practice. So this lesson says you can solve one variable equations by creating equivalent equations. To create equivalent equations, we're going to use moves that keep the equations balanced, such as combining like terms or using inverse operations to move a variable from one side of the equation to another. So here's an example that moves some terms around but keeps the equation balanced. So we have negative 3m plus 5 plus m equals 2 times 6m plus 3. So the first thing that we did here was we combined this negative 3m plus m to get negative 2m. And we also distributed this negative, or it's a positive 2. 2 times 6m is 12m, 2 times 3 is 6. So we distributed that 2 to get 12m plus 6. So we took our original equations, we combined like terms on the left, and we distributed on the right. Then we moved this positive, or this negative 2m by adding 2m to both sides. Negative 2m plus 2m canceled, and we were just left with 5 equals 12m plus 2m is 14m plus 6. Then we subtracted 6 on both sides. 5 minus 6 is negative 1 equals 14m. Divide both sides by 14 to get m equals negative 1 over 14. So every equation that we made throughout this process are equivalent equations because they have the same solution, which is negative 1 over 14 for m. So lesson 2 is just an extension, a continuation of our lesson 1, just continuing to practice those steps. I really recommend doing the work on the board here and showing your steps. It helps your brain understand the process as we're going through it. We're going to do most of these together. There'll be some that you'll be doing on your own. And again, on slide 11, it'll have the summary where you can check your work to make sure that you got them all correct. So let's look at slide 2. The first problem says, which equation is equivalent to 6x plus 9 equals 12? So when we're looking at this, if it's equivalent, that means it's going to have the same solution. So let's look at 6x plus 9 equals 12. If we were to solve this, we would subtract 9 on both sides. 9 minus 9 cancels, and we have 6x equals 3. And this is 6 times x, so we would divide both sides by 6 to get x equals 3/6, which is 1/2. So now I can open up my calculator here, and we're going to plug in 1/2 for x to see which statement is true. So for the first one, x plus 9 equals 6. So 1/2 plus 9 is 9.5, which is not equal to 6, so it's not that one. 3 times our x, which is 1/2, plus 9 gets us 10.5, which is not equal to 6. That's not a true statement. 2 times 1/2 plus 3 equals 4. And 4 equals 4. So far this one is looking good. We got a true statement. We can just show the last one, which is 6 times 1/2 plus 12, which equals 15, not 9. So there's our answer. 2x plus 3 equals 4. We can also notice that these equations, the only thing that's different is that everything was multiplied by 3. So we have 2x plus 3 equals 4. So 2x times 3 is 6x, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12. So another equivalent statement could be, well, let's take this equation and multiply everything by 10, right? 6x times 10 is 60x. 9 times 10 is 90. 12 times 10 is 120. So that would work. Like 60 times 1/2 plus 90 gets us 120. So there's slide 2, looking at those equivalent equations. Once you have everything that you need, push ahead to slide 3. Nice job, y'all. This says select all the equations that are equivalent to negative 8x minus 6 all divided by 2 equals 15. So let's look at our equation. I'm going to write it on my little board here, and I'm going to start to solve it. When I'm working on problems like this, the first thing I would do to solve is I want to get rid of this divided by 2. That's messy. It's a fraction. It's tricky. The opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. Oops. There we go. So then the 2's will cancel, and we're just left with negative 8x minus 6 equals 15 times 2 is 30. So there's 1. Negative 8x minus 6 equals 30. Let's see. Okay, so it says select all the equations. Ooh, so the only other one we're going to have is if we divide everything by 2, negative 8x divided by 2 is negative 4x, negative 6 divided by 2 is minus 3, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. So we also see that here with negative 4x minus 3 equals 15. Nice. And that one is all set. So it's just those two. When you're all set, push ahead to slide 4. Solve each equation. Okay, let's type our first one. So we have 26 minus 2x equals 3 times x plus 2. Now the first thing that I would do here is I would want to distribute this 3 that's on the outside. So to do that, my 26 minus 2x stays the same. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. Now we're all distributed. I would now start to move some terms around to get our like terms on the same side of the equation. So maybe I add 2x to both sides, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So then I get 26 equals 3x plus 2x is 5x plus 6. Our negative 2x plus 2x canceled. Then I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. 26 minus 6 is 20 equals 5x. And then my final step to get x alone is to divide both sides by 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So our x value is 4 for the first one. For the next one, we have 4x minus 6 divided by 2 equals x minus 8. So again, I see this fraction. I kind of just want to get rid of that fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 cancels, and we just have 4x minus 6 equals 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Let's get our constants, these numbers, on the same side. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 plus 6 cancels, so we get 4x equals 2x. Negative 16 plus 6 is a minus 10. And then finally, I will subtract 2x on both sides. 4x minus 2x is 2x equals negative 10. And then my last step will be divide both sides by 2, which gets us x equals negative 5. Beautiful. So there's our answers for slide 4. Make sure you get everything in, all set. And when you're all set, push ahead to the next slide, which is problem 6. Solve this equation. And we got ourselves a fraction, but we're not scared. 1/4 x minus 5 equals x minus 14. First thing I would do here is get rid of this minus 5. So let's just add 5 to both sides, combine those numbers. And then we get 1/4 x. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. It cancels out. So equals x. Negative 14 plus 5 is negative 9. Okay. Now I do want my x's on the same side, so I am going to subtract x from both sides. And although this looks messy, our terms here are 1/4 x minus 1x. So take it into the calculator. What is 1/4 minus 1? We get negative 3/4. So negative 3/4 x equals negative 9. And when we have a fraction like this, we multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm just going to multiply both sides by negative 4/3. Right? I just took this fraction and I just flipped the numbers. So it became negative 4/3. Negative 4 and 4 cancel. Negative 3 and 3 cancel. So we're just left with x equals negative 9 times negative 4 is 36 divided by 3, which is 12. So our x value equals 12. Beautiful. You're all set. Push ahead to the next slide. Paz made a mistake when solving. Negative 3 times x plus 7 equals 24. What is one thing that Paz did well, and what is the one thing that Paz did incorrectly? So let's take a look at what we got going on here with Paz. So this negative 3 was on the outside, so we need to distribute it. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. So this should be a negative 3x. And negative 3 times 7 is minus 21. That's what you would get if you distributed it. It looks like Paz was trying to get rid of that negative 3 and they just added 3 to both sides. But this negative 3 in front of the parentheses is being multiplied. So if you do, instead of distributing, you can get rid of it and move it to the other side first. But since it's multiplication, you want to divide both sides by negative 3. That would cancel out. We would be left with x plus 7. 24 divided by negative 3 is negative 8. So it would be x plus 7 equals negative 8. So Paz knew to move the negative 3, but used the wrong operation in moving that negative 3. So take some time, pause the video if you need, and put one thing that Paz did well and one thing that Paz did incorrectly. And then when you're all set, come into the next video for part 2, where we'll finish up this practice together. I will see you there. Bye, friends.